This video is sponsored by Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. You open your eyes for the very first time in the year 1693. Congratulations, you've just been born into a small coastal town in Wales. Why is that lucky, you might ask? Well, my friend, that's because the golden age of piracy is just getting started, and there are plenty of riches to be made at sea. The Caribbean is essentially a lawless paradise of rum, treasure, and zero tax obligations, and life has never looked more promising. But, unfortunately for you, this world has a secret. There's a war going on in the shadows. A war that's been raging on in secret for thousands of years. You don't know it yet, but this war is about to ruin your life. You're born to two loving parents, who are both farmers, and at 10 years old, your father moves you and your family to a farm in Bristol. Wow, the big city. Not really. The work is hard, and the money is thin, but you're fed and you're loved. And when you're old enough to understand the world around you, you realize two things very quickly. Firstly, that you hate farming. But one of the benefits of growing up on the coast is that you get to come to your second realization. That somewhere out there are men who sail ships, take what they want, and answer to no one. But somewhere in the Caribbean, there's a man standing on a beach holding a letter. He's dressed in white robes, and he's a member of the Assassin's Brotherhood. A secret organization that predates every empire on this side of the world. But this assassin has just made the worst mistake of his life. You see, the assassins have been fighting a secret war for thousands of years against an organization called the Templars. The assassins believe in human freedom, the idea that people should be able to think, choose, and live without being controlled. The Templars believe the opposite. That the world is too chaotic, too messy, and too stupid to govern itself, and that what humanity really needs is someone quietly pulling all the strings from behind the curtain. Both sides have the ultimate goal of peace among humanity, and they've both spent millennia embedding themselves into governments, religious organizations, monarchies, armies, navies, and merchant fleets across the entire world, including right here in the Caribbean. This particular assassin has just written a letter to the Templar Grand Master in Havana, offering to defect. In exchange for a bag of gold, he's going to hand over the names and locations of every assassin operating in the West Indies. He seals the letter and boards his ship. He has absolutely no idea that somewhere on the other side of the ocean, a Welsh farmer's son, who still smells faintly of turnips, is about to board his own ship, and that their paths are going to interact in a way that neither of them could have possibly predicted. When you become an adult, you realize that life in England doesn't have much to offer you anymore. You've convinced yourself that you're destined for something greater. You're quick, you're strong, you're clever, or at least you think you are, and you've got a plan. You're going to become a privateer in the West Indies. You see, a privateer is essentially a pirate, but with more paperwork. They're privately owned ships hired by the British Empire to attack and rob enemy vessels during wartime. It's completely legal, completely sanctioned, and only marginally less violent than regular piracy. The crown gets a cut of everything you plunder, you keep the rest, and everyone agrees to pretend that this is more civilized than just being an actual pirate. Luckily for you, the Spanish War of Succession is raging on at the moment, so you get a privateer job pretty easily. But immediately, life at sea isn't what you thought it'd be. You're bullied by your more hardened and experienced peers, who call you mean names like landlubber and turnip boy. Plus, the vibes among the crew are also terrible, because you're all about to be out of the job. The War of Spanish Succession is coming to a close, and it's only a matter of time before treaties are signed, making your whole operation illegal, meaning you're about to be unemployed. That's because the other thing about being a privateer is that the moment that the war ends, so does your license, and with it, any legal protection you had. One day, you're a hero of the British Empire. The next, you're unemployed, with a very particular set of skills that don't translate well to honest work. So your captain, showing off his stellar leadership skills, tells you all that you have two options: become pirates, continuing to raid and steal stuff, or be thrown overboard. Given the choice between life and death, you begin a life of piracy. Plus, you still want to make it rich, so might as well, right? But it turns out, being a pirate is harder than being a privateer. One fateful day in 1713, your new pirate ship is raided by a group of privateers, led by a terrifying man named Edward Thatch. Thatch and his crew want to have some fun instead of just killing you all instantly. So, they make you and the crew duke it out with each other. Thatch pits you and one of your bullies against each other. You absolutely annihilate him in a fight. Thatch is impressed by this, and invites you to come work for him on his privateer ship. Again, the alternative is being murdered and having your body thrown overboard, so you're like, I guess, sure, yeah. Thatch and his crew teach you how to wield a sword and use a pistol. And good thing too, cause you'll be getting a lot of use out of both of them. You spend the next few years proving your tenacity and drive to your crewmates, leading the charge to plunder various treasures and ships, slowly growing what's coming to be known as the Pirate Republic of Nassau. Then, on a stormy night in June 1715, your crew spots a passing vessel and decides, with the kind of optimism that only pirates have, that it looks like an easy paycheck. It is not. The fight goes very badly. The ship's magazine, that's the room deep in the hull where all the gunpowder and ammunition is stored, catches fire. And before anyone can do anything sensible about it, the whole thing explodes. You wake up on a beach at Cape Bonavista with no ship, no crew, and a raging headache. The only other person on this beach is a man in strange robes. The same assassin from our little detour earlier. That ship he boarded, it's the same one you just tried to rob. The assassin is wounded from the explosion, and he offers you money for safe passage to Havana. You do like money, so you agree. But the other part of being a pirate is that you don't always seem very trustworthy. That's exactly how the assassin feels. So he draws his pistol, points it square at your chest, and pulls the trigger. But nothing happens, because the gunpowder is completely soaked from the shipwreck. You'd think he'd know this kind of thing by now, being a career assassin who works at sea. He tries to run away. He's fast, but you chase him through the jungle, corner him, and eventually kill him. You start to go through his pockets, because of course you do, you cheeky old pirate you. What you find is a letter addressed to the Templar Grand Master in Havana, a governor named Torres, explaining that the man you just killed was a member of the Assassin Brotherhood, a secret organization dedicated to protecting humanity's free will. He had been operating undercover in the West Indies for years, and was now offering to defect to the Templars, hand over every assassin contract he knew, and deliver a mysterious crystalline prism in exchange for a bag of gold. You don't realize this yet, but the Templar Order is a secret international organization that's thought to have existed since the dawn of humanity, thousands upon thousands of years ago. And fighting to stop them is the Assassin Brotherhood, who believe in freedom above all else. They've each infiltrated every level of every structure in society. This is objectively enormous. A bombshell revelation, some might say. There's a secret battle of good and evil raging on in the shadows all across the world? For centuries? An Illuminati seeking control versus a silent brotherhood of assassins? Sworn enemies for millennia. It's the kind of discovery that a more thoughtful man might sit with for a while. But you are not a thoughtful man. You are, however, an ideas guy. Looking at the man's body, all you see are dollar signs. So you decide to put on the robes, pick up the prism, and go collect the reward money for it yourself. Genius! You meet with the Templars, who have been expecting you. Well, the guy you're pretending to be at least. It's here you're introduced to some of the most dangerous people in the Caribbean. Torres himself, governor of Cuba and Templar Grand Master. Woodes Rogers, the governor of the Bahamas and a pirate hunter aiming to take down the Pirate Republic of Nassau. And a French arms dealer named Julien Ducasse, who welcomes you warmly and hands you a brand new pair of hidden blades. Retractable steel weapons mounted on your wrists, deployed with a flick of the hand, as a gift for the man he believes just betrayed the entire Assassin Brotherhood. You strap them on, and they fit perfectly. You try out a few assassination techniques on dummy targets, and it's smooth, effortless. They almost feel like an extension of your body, as if they were always made for you. With your sweet robes and sick hidden blades, you have to admit, you look and feel incredibly awesome. You hand over the goods to Torres, and he's pretty stoked. Torres explains what the Templars actually want. The Templars, which seemingly now includes you, are trying to seize the hearts and minds of every single person on Earth and win them over to the Templar cause. While this is being explained, your eyes kinda glaze over. You don't care about helping some random dudes achieve world domination. You're just here for the cash. You pickpocket the Templars for a few coins while they're distracted. Pirate's gonna pirate. Governor Torres also brags to you that they've captured a sage, a guy who has ancient genetic memories of the Isu people. Wait, what? What the hell does that mean? Genetic memories? Who are the Isu people? Well, buckle up, because this is where things get weird. You see, around 77,000 years ago, the world looked pretty different. At the time, it was ruled by the Isu, a highly advanced species that looked somewhat human, but definitely were not. The Isu had a problem though. Running a planet is a lot of work, so they did what any sufficiently advanced civilization would do when faced with a labor shortage. They acquired workers. They engineered an entirely new species, designed from the ground up to be capable, obedient, and crucially, unable to disobey. That species was humanity. They created humans in their own image, as a capable, docile, and obedient workforce of servants. Humans were not designed to be self-actualized. In fact, the Isu invented various technologies called the Pieces of Eden to keep them exactly that. And that crystal that you just handed Taurus, that's one of them. These pieces could tap into any human's neurotransmitter network and ensure total obedience through mind control. But every now and then, there were some Isu who interbred with humans. Their hybrid children were born without these neurotransmitters, making them immune to the piece's mind control abilities. In 7510 BCE, the human Isu hybrids known as Adam and Eve, yeah, that Adam and Eve, stole a piece of Eden known as the apple, sparking a series of events that led to an all-out war between the two species, and both were nearly rendered extinct. Whatever was left of the Isu civilization collapsed. Humanity survived, barely, and spent the next 70,000 years slowly forgetting that any of this had ever happened. Every few generations, someone is born who carries just enough Isu DNA that their memories bleed through. Not their own memories, the Isu's. These people are called sages. Essentially, sages inherit some of the memories of the Isu, allowing them to track down ancient mind control technology. Something that, as you can imagine, the Templars are really interested in. So yeah, mind control, ancient people, Adam and Eve. Your head is spinning, and you don't really want anything to do with this. You try to back out of whatever this assassin guy you're impersonating got himself wrapped into so you can get back to making the big bucks. But the Templars, it turns out, are not idiots. Someone realizes that you aren't who you say you are, and your whole charade collapses. Governor Torres, unimpressed, has you arrested and loaded onto a ship in the Spanish treasure fleet, a heavily armed convoy heading for Seville, to be delivered to the British Templars in London, where presumably something much worse is waiting for you. But you aren't going down without a fight. You free and recruit a few other prisoners and lead a revolt. Stealing one of the fleet's ships, you and your ragtag group of pirates manage to sail away before the rest of the fleet is sunk in a storm. But stop right there, landlubber, because this video is a little different to our usual why it sucks to be an insert thing here videos. You see, normally, we would base this video on the lives of a bunch of different pirate assassins to get an idea of what it would be like to be a regular pirate assassin living in this world. But the problem with pirate assassins is that there's only ever been like one of them. And that guy is Edward Kenway, the main character of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. That means that the rest of this video needs a big spoiler warning for those of you who haven't played the game yet. You might think, what? Spoiler warning? But Assassin's Creed Black Flag came out like 13 years ago. Well, my friend, that's where you're wrong. Because the new and improved Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced is out right now. So you can go play it today. With that said, let's jump back into it. But leaving out as much of the game's plot as I can. I want you guys to be able to experience that for yourselves. Here we go. Now that you're the captain of your newly acquired ship, a whole myriad of adventures await you. You decide to name your ship the Jackdaw. You sail to Nassau, a place rumored to be a haven for pirates like you. You and your crew set up a base of operations in Nassau, aka the Pirate Republic. Officially, the Republic of Pirates was founded by some of your former associates, including James Kidd, and your old privateering buddy, Edward Thatch. Thatch has only gotten scarier over time, and now goes by the name Blackbeard. He now has a huge, fluffy black beard and lit fuses hanging from his hair. This is the guy who was just elected as the Magistrate of Nassau. Nassau is pretty sweet. It's a beautiful, luxurious, anarchic island paradise. For a while, everything was smooth sailing. Get it? This is the life you've always dreamed of. Partying, plundering, and not letting anyone get in your way. But what you don't realize is that you're being watched from the shadows. Your assassination skills are impressive. You don't realize it yet, but you're secretly being recruited for a greater cause, the Templars versus the Pirate Republic. But in 1716, you're visited by your friend James Kidd, under the guise of bringing you to a hidden treasure. He brings you into the jungle, where you meet the Assassin's Brotherhood. And these are the real assassins, not just a bunch of guys wearing the cloaks like you've been doing. You explain to Kidd that you're not an assassin, you're a pirate who keeps ending up in assassin meetings, wearing assassin equipment, and accidentally doing assassin things while looking for treasure. Kidd ignores your pleas, telling his assassin mentors that you have the sense, or eagle vision. Remember those Isu hybrids? The ones born immune to the pieces of Eden? Turns out that the Isu bloodline leaves other traces too. The vast majority of people who carry it never know, but a rare few are born with what the assassins call eagle vision, an ability that lets you perceive the world the way the Isu once did. With eagle vision, you basically have a sixth sense, showing you the light of living things, past and present, just as the Isu did thousands of years ago. You can see sounds and hear shapes, sometimes even being able to spot people through walls. Kidd tells you that if you master eagle vision, you'll be able to detect heartbeats, foresee travel paths, or even peer into the memories of your targets. It sounds like total nonsense, but you've been able to do this kind of thing since you were just a child. You know that Kidd is telling you the truth. This explains why you have been a really good unofficial assassin so far, despite your best efforts not to be. Kidd introduces you to the Creed's maxim: nothing is true, everything is permitted. But he knows you're more interested in money than morals, and allows you to complete assassination contracts for the Brotherhood, in the name of riches, of course. You're hesitant, but intrigued, so you agree. You take down a couple more targets and collect the paycheck. You don't realize it quite yet, but you're on the path to becoming a proper assassin. Over the years, you slowly learn more about the Assassin Brotherhood, and what your membership means not just to your own life, but to all of humanity. You aren't just a pirate anymore. You have a responsibility to protect those who can't protect themselves. Not everyone has sick hidden blades and eagle vision, but you've been given a gift, and you're determined to use it for good, even if it means sacrificing your life to champion the poor and the powerless. As an assassin, you have the power to bend the arc of history to your will. You have big shoes to fill. Previous members of the Assassin Brotherhood have risked their lives in pursuit of humanity's freedom. Your predecessors have assassinated the likes of Julius Caesar, Girolamo Savonarola, and Pope Alexander VI, and anyone else who oppresses the lives of innocent people. By late 1722, you've returned to your hometown of Bristol, having vowed to give up the pirate life for good. You join the British Brotherhood, and eventually earn the rank of Master Assassin. You meet a woman and fall in love, starting a family with her. Your life is much quieter than it once was, mostly because you're a sneaky assassin now, not a pirate. But you're fulfilled, and do your best to follow the creed and be a good father to your children. But you've lived a life of danger, and that was bound to come back to haunt you at some point. Now at the age of 42, your house is infiltrated by masked Templars. They kidnap your daughter and murder your servants. You try to ensure that your wife and son are safe as you face off with the Templars. The fight is long, brutal, and bloody. You're not as young and fast as you once were, but you keep pushing. This fight isn't just for your family, it's for the Brotherhood. For a fraction of a second, you take a moment to catch your breath, but that gives one of the masked men just enough time to impale you in the chest with your sword. You drop to your knees and look down to see your hands dripping with your own blood. And in those last few seconds, your mind doesn't go to the parties in Nassau or the riches you plundered. It goes to the people you cared for and the creed of the Brotherhood that you swore to protect. And that's your life as a pirate assassin. It began because you chased a wounded man through a jungle for pocket money and ended bleeding out on the floor of your own house. But somewhere in between, you became the thing you were pretending to be all along. Wow. Don't you wish there was some way you could live an experience like this? Especially that cool middle part we conveniently brushed over? Well, my friend, you're in luck. Because this video was inspired by the story of Edward Kenway in Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. Out now on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC. Special thanks again to Ubisoft for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you in the next one.